Hello, lads, and welcome to the Early Booking Podcast, episode 11. Today, we're going to start our week off right by getting down to the big upset of the week. We're going to cover Everton, their dub against the one and only disappointment, Chelsea. So, I guess, Trey, what are your thoughts on that Chelsea demoralizing defeat there?
I mean, it's just that time of the season where we absolutely melt down, and this happens pretty much every year. But I mean, with the added pressure of the club sale and all of that, I mean, it's not really an excuse, and we need to find out a way to finish strong. We always seem to start strong. Arsenal will come back in the second half of the season and normally give us like a 3-2, 4-2 L, losing to Everton this year. I mean, at least we got Frank Lampard. We're trying to help him stay in. It's a part of a bigger plan.
That's what I thought. They were doing Frank a favor, but I think it's funny that Chelsea took like 1 point from Everton over two legs this season, and 10 games into the season, like Trey said, you would have thought Chelsea had won the league the way the fans were talking, but they could never go the full 38 games, and I mean, maybe one season they will again. I mean, we've seen it many times in the past, but I think the exodus happens this summer. We see Rudiger's signed to Madrid. I don't think he'll be the only one leaving. I think Pulisic will demand his way out, or Pulisic. But it was, I guess, I hated seeing Everton claim the points because that could have been the nail in their coffin, especially with Burnley winning 3 on the trot. But who else has thoughts there?
You know what this game was?
Yeah.
It was a passing of the torch between the most underperforming team in the Prem and handing the title over to Chelsea. Because we were sitting here talking about how a couple weeks into the season, Chelsea fans were saying that this was their year for the Prem, even higher aspirations. Won the Champions League last year. They invested like 200 some mil, got 2 world-class strikers brought in. Everybody thought, how can a team that wins the Champions League bring in this type of talent, have the coach that Thomas Tuchel, whatever you want to call, can't speak German, right? And they're now in a position where they could drop down. We talked about it. I don't think it'll happen. I still think they stay in third, but they could inevitably fall into fifth and lose Champions League places this season now with how they're performing. And at one point, it was a 3-man title race, and now it is a runaway 2 with that team that we thought was unobtainable there now falling again. So Everton, massive result. Pickford played out of his mind. Only reason Everton is where they are, only reason their season isn't over. I think Everton should be thankful. They have a game in hand now. They could get above Leeds with a victory next week, I believe. If you're an Everton fan, you better be clinging on to hope because the games still look rough.
Yeah, Leeds are in danger now. I'm glad you called that out. I think they're like, 1 point?
2 points above Everton with 34 played. Everton's 32 points with 33 played.
It's pretty much.
I think.
Tied there.
Oh, sorry, Forrest.
Third. Go ahead, Graham.
I think it's just hilarious to me because with the Chelsea goal, it was another mistake at the back. I don't know how we haven't discussed how it's just every game it's a mistake at the back that causes a goal. This game, really got to talk about those Everton fans. It was absolute scenes up in there.
I mean, they're world-class defenders in the back. Like, everybody can't believe the Rudiger's going, but you have Thiago Silva, one of the world's most decorated defenders. Azpilicueta, their captain. That was an egregious error, you're right. And I think it plays into what Trey said. I forget about the financial struggles because I could give less of a shit about Chelsea. I hope they sink under the ground.
We're gonna use this.
These are some wash names that you're saying. I'm just gonna say that.
Pickford made some great saves that game.
All I want to, I know they're washed, but they're making errors that like defenders of their caliber you wouldn't expect to make, veterans at least. You'd expect them to be technical on the ball still. They might not be fast or whatever, but those are just he could like let the ball roll out too far in front of him. He didn't take a touch right. But I don't know.
Even considering the great saves Pickford made, you think that game they would have had more shots on goal still. Just the offense, even ignoring the error. I mean, stuff like that happens, but I don't know. There's just not a lot of offense going on in Chelsea.
Yeah, they're not creating like clear-cut chances.
Yeah,
they still don't have a clear-cut system.
Yeah, I mean, it's inconsistent. It happens. I don't know. When we're on, we're on fire, but when we're not, it's really bad. But I think we're gonna fuel this to an FA Cup victory coming up in a week and a half or so, and then Liverpool can go and get their Champions League and possibly get the title. But
Yeah, I don't think the quadruple is realistic, but
yeah, we have the
I
rest.
think of Champions League, Premier League, FA Cup, I think FA Cup's the sure one. But also just tying this back to Chelsea, I feel like where we saw the success last season, it was all on that defense. Like they were clean sheeting every game, a lot of 1-0s, 2-0s. But now they're conceding and they're not winning 1-0 anymore. It's a 1-1. It's a 2-2. They're losing. But I love Chilwell. I think he's like what he tore his ACL, so he's been missing the whole season really. And Reece James, I think we all know he's a baller. But when you got these crusty center backs that barely have legs, like experience only goes so far. I don't think like Ramos is so washed up now. He hasn't been doing anything, but it reminds me of old John Terry, just like totally lost his legs.
I mean, when I think of Chelsea, the first thing I do think of is, fuck, how do you get through the holding midfield and then through the defense? And as of late, every time I've watched them, I guess you're right. I didn't know why it was weird. I watch a lot of the games in the Prem, and when I watch Chelsea games, you're right, I expect them to win like 3-0. Like normally, you don't see a lot of highlights from the other team when Chelsea plays, and now it seems like it's buffoonish. It's like errors. It's like Tottenham. I was about to joke earlier. I was ripping on Azpilicueta for being your captain. We have Hugo Lloris in goal, all right? And that man's quite prone to the error, so I understand what that's like, Trey.
And just to speak to the most overrated player in the Premier League, Jorginho, that penalty he took when Pulisic bailed him out was like one of the ugliest penalties I've ever seen. And I don't know what's up with this man, like how he almost won Ballon d'Or. That man is like so average.
I always thought he was a little overrated, especially after that. I think it was a Heung-min Son goal, where he just sprints right around him like he's not there, and like every fucking winger does that to him, bro. It's not. I don't know. It's time to go back to Napoli or something.
So the more resounding question is: this win enough to keep Everton afloat? We talk about them a lot.
No,
They have a game in hand,
in my
right?
opinion.
Yes,
Their
they
fixtures are
they're
still
two
hard.
Down, 2 down
They're 2
on
points
Leeds, who
down
has one
on
game
Leeds
in
and
hand
Burnley.
on Leeds.
I mean,
Burnley
they could
is
still get-
cooking on goal difference. So
I almost think Everton, like Leeds, are more in danger than Burnley because despite what everyone thought, I feel like sacking Dyche looks like the right thing to do. They're actually scoring. They've won 3 in a row, drawn the last 2. So before then, so I think it's been good. I don't think it's enough though. I'm pretty sure Everton have like a horrible schedule coming up, and but like they beat Chelsea and United. I mean, United's not. It's still a good team, but then they're just dropping points to everyone else. So I feel like there were 2 fluke wins.
all right, we'll move away from underperformance, boys. Graham, your thoughts? Everton staying?
I mean, they're Burnley staying up. If you ask me, they're just Burnley. Leeds play Arsenal next, so if Everton can get something out of this Everton game, that's massive. But who knows? Arsenal's Arsenal.
We'll move out of this path of underperforming teams. Let's get back into the title race. Something interesting. Parker, thoughts?
Yeah, massive win. I mean, I think Newcastle's maybe the hottest team in the Premier League, so to beat them at home was a big deal. At the same time, it was, the heart was racing all game. It was a close game. It could have gone either way. The Naby Keita goal was nice. But no, I think that's a hard place to go and get 3 points now, which if you said that a few months ago, you'd be laughing. But I'm just happy we kept the pressure on and was very disappointed in Leeds' performance versus Man City. I thought they looked good at times, but at the end they just ended up getting slaughtered 3-0. So, I mean, it's hard to play against that City team, but I'm just happy the gap is only 1 point still. It could have been worse, but at the same time, I want that lead, but I feel like it's too late. I feel like we had our chance when we played them 2 weeks ago, and that was the chance that was like the title decider, and we couldn't close the gap. So I think
So is it
Too late.
Liverpool won't win out the Premier League games, or do you think City wins theirs out rather?
I think both went out, but
Go.
when both went out, City win by 1 point. So
Right.
I think that's what's gonna happen. They both want it so bad that, and like I would say we have the harder schedule for sure. We have
I think we crush your dreams this weekend.
I don't think so, but I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. But
Yeah.
it's tough. It would be so hard to see us lose the title by 1 point again to like a third time. Also, on like would probably set the record for like place points again, which is just insane.
So mentally, if Liverpool can't get this title, okay, how do you think that leaves them for that Champions League final if they push on? Do you think they have enough to get up and play again and push, like, screw City, we got to beat them at this point? Or rather, do you think Real Madrid gets there?
I think City will get through just because they've been so deprived of a Champions League. But I think, regardless, I know it'll be a battle. But I think if we lose the title, I think we're coming even harder at the UCL because, like, we can't let them get both.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, that's unthinkable. If we were to lose both those to City, and then I don't care about the FA Cup. I mean, it'd be really nice to win, but if we win the FA Cup and the League Cup and lose both those, it's kind of a loss of a season. Like, it would be a disappointment.
So what I'm hearing from you is there's no way Pep Guardiola can win his Champions League title with City this year. What you've said, basically.
Not till they get Haaland to lead the line. I think next year with Haaland, they might just become unstoppable.
Graham, you look like you have a Liverpool take here.
I don't have a Liverpool take.
Do you have a City take?
I think what Parker's saying about the FA Cup is nonsense. You got to go for it. You could win the FA Cup and the fucking Champions League.
And the Premier League.
And the Premier League, but probably not, in my opinion, on that one. But either way, you could win a Champions League and an FA Cup. That's a tremendous.
Well, I think that's huge. I agree.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that would be the quadruple, but at the same time, if let's say we lose Prem and Champions League, is it a big season if we win the FA Cup and the League Cup?
You gotta come home with a trophy, bro, with that squad. And
We already got one though. We got the Carabao Cup.
So you wouldn't also want an FA Cup if you lost both?
You gotta
Like,
Well,
the
I'd
game
also
house
want it, but
trophy,
I'm just
boy.
saying if how close we are to the quadruple, but if you
Just
get the
trophies.
two lesser trophies from that, like FA Cup's big, but Leicester won it last year, and you don't see that like
I mean, you'd be pissed.
lasting forever
Yeah.
in the mind. I'm just
Trey.
saying, if we're that close, is it yeah?
Trey, you remain neutral to all this. What's your take? Does Liverpool or City win the Prem and then the Champions League thereafter? Or does Real Madrid get through?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if City slipped up somehow, but at the
Prem?
same time, for the Prem. But I don't know. They're two well-oiled machines, but someone can mess up at any given moment, and we've seen it before. We've seen it happen to Liverpool, honestly. But so maybe the karma's in their favor, and they're gonna somehow sneak the Prem title and the Champions League title, but they're not getting the FA Cup.
Really setting up for a pretty legendary finish. We could have a really dramatic finish in the sense of I know you hate to bring it up, Parker, but a Gerrard slip. It could come down to the last day and a memorable moment in the last game that could seal this. So I'm looking for both teams to crack, and hopefully in a manner that we remember for years to come at least.
Well, Stevie G's Claret Army is playing City on the last day of the season, so if Stevie wants to do us a favor, that would be written in the written in the stars. We've seen some crazy Prem finishes, so I do see I think Trey could be spot on there. Force, I think you were trying to get a word in.
Yeah, I think it's really so close, and there's still it's not just one game and left. I mean, I think Liverpool could easily win. It's not nearly as foregone a conclusion. So I do predict that Liverpool will win the Premier League, and then I'll have you for that. Yeah.
Love that.
Graham, let's get this shit over with. This North London derby next Thursday, man. I think realistically we probably I actually think we do get a draw with Liverpool this weekend. Okay? So we can come into that game 4 points down on you guys, but I don't know. Everton's a hot team after this weekend. I do think the top 4 race comes down to the rescheduled North London derby from well earlier in the
Why?
season.
Arsenal an automatic 3 point.
You're lagging right now, Graham.
Fighting
no.
for their lives. Oh shoot.
You're good. I'll keep speaking for a second until I see your picture
Yeah, go
coming
ahead.
clear. But I think, is this one in the Emirate or in the what's Arsenal Stadium, the Emirates, or is this one at Tottenham? Do you know?
We played you at the Emirates earlier
That's what
this
I thought.
season when
Okay.
we whooped up on.
I think the first 30 minutes of the game decide it. I think whoever scores the first goal, and I think it's actually about 50-50 for which team could score the first goal. So I can kind of look at this game as a neutral because I've written this season off well in the past. Things were not looking too well before the January signings, and I'll be the first to admit that. So to even be here at this point, playing you guys in this week, and literally having the chance to hold our destiny in our own hands is something I'm appreciative of. So bring your best.
Yeah.
I think we have Liverpool this weekend. I think we could crush some dreams. And I hope we take
That'd
that
be
momentum
awesome.
and shit on Arsenal.
All right.
Tottenham fans get so big-headed after one
I'm
win.
trying to take it game by
One
game.
win.
One win versus who'd you beat? 3-0? Like
We're the
Brighton or
only
something?
reason you have a chance right now. Remember that. We're like the last team to get 3 points from City.
Yeah, I mean, but everyone drops
Just
points.
Maybe, Leicester.
But at the same time, you're about to get humbled.
We'll show you how to drop points. We'll show you just what we did
Beat
to City.
Leicester.
Yes, Leicester. Leicester is an underperforming side. I will admit that, but
Yeah, how does Brendan Rodgers still have a job? That's like a real question.
you hear the way he talks after games? Sometimes he like tries to take the pressure off his teams. Like they're doing everything I'm asking.
He's
Like,
a dick.
like right, kind of just like a pushing the blame off him, but like saying the team's not there. And I don't know. I guess Leicester fans just can't really say much, bro. Like they've been an overperforming team for how long now? Like
Yeah, but
gotta
the
come to
investment's
reality.
there.
I know. You have an off season. It's not like they're down in 18th place either.
He's not
I
too
get,
bad of a coach.
and they're in
honestly.
that stupid ass UE Conference League. They're in the semifinals of that right now in like a 1-0 result. I do know that, even
Yeah.
though that's a joke. Like they are in a European tie still.
No one talks about that.
No. The only reason I know is
I don't even
because it's
know
like a
what the hell that
recommended
is.
video if I watch Europa League games on YouTube. I'm like, what's this green shit on the? Oh, this is that Conference League, huh?
Also, Graham's on like a phone Wi-Fi hotspot or some shit
Yeah,
tonight.
can we expose him for hotspotting in?
What? What is
We're
it
just
look
roasting
You
you.
get better reception at
I
homeless
know,
shelters.
but
We've
what
just
is
been
this?
lagging. You're good right now.
Yeah, you're good.
Much better.
All right, cool.
What else do we have to talk about? We could go down to the bottom of the table, I guess. For us, let's get your scraping team thoughts. Looks like they might have actually made the right decision. I did not join you guys last week. I actually did listen to the discussion about Sean Deitch, and seems like we were kind of split. You guys were like, why? But you could also understand like maybe just a change was needed, and now we're seeing a week and some change later. They're playing their hearts out for whoever. I don't even know who there is. Ben, me, and Co. Still.
3 wins in a row.
Right, on the jump.
Well, yeah, I'm very excited for all the wins, of course. Which puts them in a pretty good spot to not get relegated at this point, but it's definitely not. It's definitely still possible. But they do look like maybe the best team of the 3 that are almost at relegation here. So, and watching that game, yeah, they had that unfortunate. They had an unfortunate goal early, but then they really came back. It was really exciting to watch them come back and score those goals. But they were really performing by playing well in the midfield. I think with the new coach, the new midfield has been better in the attack, and they used to do a lot more crosses. And that's still how they score. They're very much a kind of cross dominant team, but they've been working more on. That's how they're getting some goals still, but they've been working a little bit more on the possession. I think maybe that's paying off. Just a little bit of changes. Maybe that's all they needed to have a little more consistency and at least be a table team. So yeah, I'm definitely pretty excited. And then another great save by the best goalie in the Prem. That game, that was awesome.
All has its advantages.
You got a FIFA Team of the Week card for that performance.
Oh, he did?
Or is you need to get your dog under control?
I thought you were barking at me, but okay.
Well, you couldn't tell if he was talking through that Wi-Fi. It might sound like a bark. But as a fan, I will comment, Forrest, that is something you like to see when your team's underperforming under a manager. And you believe in these fucking players. Like, Dwight McNeil even raving to me about how he's, like, nice. And I have watched some Burnley games in the past, and I'm like, this dude's a fraud. What the shit are you talking about? Under a new manager, I don't know if he found confidence or if he found the fuck it mentality, but he's playing, without any form of caring. And as I like seeing that, I do. Like, Tottenham have a lot of underperforming players. We talk about them all the time on here. Barker's the first to talk shit. I will yell at players when I see them. Harry Winks comes to mind first and foremost. But, like, when a new manager comes in, like Nuno Espirito's ass came in at the beginning of this year, and Harry Winks actually looked like he belonged in the Prem for the first time for a few games, I was like, you know what? This is what I get for fucking believing, I guess, man. Like, maybe you do earn your contract. You're not stealing a wage around here. And then, like, a few weeks later, they just lose that again. So it's kind of crazy. I hope to see Burnley stay in. I think they're a funny banter club, actually, with, like, their park it in. And hopefully we can stay for another season, rather.
Yeah,
you'll be laughing at, like, 6 plays.
I don't know why
I
laughing.
can't be in the room with this man, Graham. He's killing me. His lagging ass on the screen, and I'm like, he's next to me in real life.
Wi-Fi, bro.
Nah, I'm hardwired in. He must be like connected to the router and not the extender.
He's on the phone hotspot.
Yeah, nah, he's on some shit.
On that Baltimore
Sorry,
City
audience.
internet. But no, I agree with you. I think it's just nice seeing Burnley in the Premier League because, like, just shit house football. But I think, like you said, bringing in a new man, I'm sure there's new tactics. And I think, like, McNeil is just such a creative player that I don't think Dyche was getting the best out of him. And,
yeah, that's true.
Maybe we see him have a great season next year and he goes somewhere for like 50 mil. It's possible. But I think there will be more investment too if they stay up. But yeah, I think it was great to see. Every time I look at the score, and this week I thought they were going to lose, and because they were down 1-0 in like the 80th minute, and then all of a sudden they pulled 2 back to take the lead and win. So that was crazy.
I think we've touched on all the main points in the Prem. Middle of the table is still. I would like to say we talk a lot of shit on a lot of teams in here. The Premier League table is I could not have predicted this at the beginning of the year. I don't know what you guys think. The middle of the table, some of those teams in there, Everton from like 15th downward, is very surprising. Brighton's up as high as 8th or 9th at times. Wolves has jumped to like 4th or 5th. Man U being down in 6th perennially. Like, we haven't even touched on them today because they're not even a factor in this race. Like, West Ham, overperformance, they could get through. I think we should touch on their Europa League or performance.
Yeah.
Actually robbed. They should be well on their way to a Europa League final right now with the way they played, I think. That Jared Bowen take, that needs to be mentioned. That bicycle take attempt, almost the goal of the season.
He's sick.
He is. I think he is going. Wasn't he linked to Liverpool before Diaz came? Like, what?
He was. And yeah, with Diaz, I don't think it's happening anymore. But
Right.
no, like you said, I think this is been one of the best seasons in like recent memory. Just like I don't think we've ever seen clubs like we're seeing right now in the relegation zone. Usually, it's like 2 of the 3 newly promoted teams will go down, and we are seeing Watford and Norwich go down. But I think Brentford's been a pleasant surprise. Like Everton and Leeds have been huge disappointments. Leicester's been a huge disappointment. You said like there's been some surprises. Wolves have kind of slowed down a little bit, but yeah, I'm excited for what next year will bring. And then just these last 5 fixtures, we got a lot to look forward to.
Are you guys more of a fan of a like hard-rooted 6, or because we're all fans of big 6 clubs? Do you like when you're fighting the same teams, or do you guys like the underdog story of someone pushing up? Because when I saw West Ham up there, I guess it's kind of different when we were in 5th and 6th. I was like, Fuck, why is West Ham up here, bro? We got to get above them. But maybe you guys sitting at the pole feel different and you like having new competition. But I do like when that like 10th to 4th race does have some new teams in it, just not when they're ahead of Tottenham.
Yeah, I agree. See some new faces. Nice
Like
change up.
what's their face? Brighton's been up in like 8th like recently. Like they fell off. They literally had like 4 months of doing nothing, and that isn't a testament to how good their season was at the end, the tails of it.
Yeah, they're still in ninth. So, I mean, like, there's not really much competition for the Europa League spots. It looks like Man U and Tottenham have that locked up, or they're going for the Champions
Higher.
League spots. But like that gap between, like, what's that green league you were talking about?
The Europa Conference League.
Yeah, they're competing for that. That's about all I see down there. The Big Six have got it locked up.
I think one thing
I was
that's
I have a question that I think you can answer directly. We always talk about this. Do you think the Premier League, with the way it's structured, the big clubs usually continue to succeed? Do you think we break out of that mold? We were just talking about how Leicester is investing more because they've won. Do you think more clubs start trying to become super clubs and break the mold, or do you think there's still going to be a big?
I do think so. And it's funny when you were saying how you like an underdog, I was thinking yes, but I think in the past, whenever you see an underdog kind of rise to the top, they get kind of picked apart by the big teams. Like when Leicester rose, you saw Conte go, you saw Mahrez go, everyone thought Vardy was going, and I think it's happening less because these teams are not playing Moneyball anymore. They're being able to spend like Newcastle. I think Newcastle is going to be a heavy hitter within the next 2 years. Like seriously, like punching way up. Like right now they're punching above their weight, but I think 2 to 3 years they're going to have world class players that they'll be able to attract. I think Villa is another team that the Stevie G effect. I think he's had kind of a miserable season. I can't lie. It was a hot start, but it's really cooled off. But yeah, I think like actually just being able to pay these players is something that will allow them to retain talent. But I've also seen talk of like these new Champions League proposed rules where they'll have like historical slots. So basically, someone like United would get in, even though they don't deserve it. So there's always like things that they're trying to do to keep that kind of big six together. But no, I think the way money works in like sports nowadays, I think if someone wealthy enough buys a team, they can just be great. And also like Chelsea, who knows what's going to happen to Chelsea? Maybe all of a sudden, new ownership, they kind of fall away. You never know.
Yeah, we got a lot to watch out for on the horizon, actually. Like you said, hopefully some teams coming up on the come up, and we have one of the massive clubs right here in turmoil and literally sitting at a question mark. It could go either way. So we just got to sit here with a magnifying lens and hopefully see, do they make the right decision? Do they make the right decision? And then I hope they crumble.
Yeah, me too.
I'm here for more competition. Make it as competitive as possible. Best league in the world.
That's a fair attitude to have there, Trey.
Yeah, I think the Premier League is the one league where you see like world class players on every single team.
Yeah, at least one. Like there's one like Crystal Palace, Zaha. Like there's just one starlet at least, and then Gallagher, I guess too. Like, yeah, at least yeah. Burnley, I could even say that Weghorst dude is actually pretty nice.
McNeil and like Tarkowski and Pope, those are all some ballers. Then like Southampton, Ward-Prowse. I mean, there's one on every team. Dele Alli can't even get a game.
What we'll do at the end of the season, I think we'll give like an overperformer, an underperformer, and then like our player for each team that we point out.
Yeah, look forward to that.
So I think we touched on all of the pressing stuff on the Prem. We'll get a closing thought. Big Champions League, Europa League games. Anybody got anything to say about those? I, for one, nobody's actually believed in it. Think Benzema will put Real Madrid through City in the next into the final, single-handedly.
I have a feeling it might happen.
He's got them this far with single-handedly the great. Cristiano Ronaldo's done some crazy shit. Lewandowski's had crazy seasons. Nobody's done what Benzema's done this season. The players around him are good. They're world class. He makes Vinicius Jr. look 1,000 times better than he actually is, though. Vinny cooks down the wing, but Benzema scores where his expected goals to goals ratio. I'd love to see that statistic for the Champions League this year because it seems like everything that finds him goes in. Left foot, right foot, header, far post, in the rain, don't fucking matter.
Yeah, he's having like one of the best seasons we've ever seen. I think Rodrigo is a bum. I think Vinny is solid, like pretty decent. In that midfield, we know. I mean, they've done it before.
But they're 34, 6.
Yeah, right.
I've seen years like Benzema himself is 35 years old, I believe, 34 or something like.
Yeah, I could see Pep like he classically overthinks. And
Did you not see his comments already? He said he said they got Kroos, Modric, Benzema. These players want the ball. They want to be down a goal. They're gonna come for us. He's already thinking. He's trying to play and get in their head. He's already overthinking himself.
Good. Yeah, that'll be game of the week.
Absolutely. I think Liverpool's all but wrapped up theirs. They did the job unless absolute collapse happens, which is possible. We've seen it, but I think they're well disciplined enough to not allow that. I think Europa League might have some interesting results. I would love to see West Ham get through, but right now it's looking like two Bundesliga teams are going to be in the final for the
Who would you rather
League.
face, Parker, at Liverpool? Would you rather face Real Madrid or
City?
City?
Madrid.
Okay.
We don't have Karius in that anymore, and I don't know. City is like our bad luck charm. Like I hate playing them. Every time we play them, I get the worst anxiety.
I'd be scared of Benzema, bro. That man is single-handedly.
Van Dijk will pocket that Frenchman for 90 minutes.
He's bringing single-handed glory to Real Madrid this year. Watch.
Benzema's got the ultra instinct right now.
Yeah, he's locked in.
Ibu or Matip and Van Dijk, he's in their pocket.
All right, my
We'll see him
closing
next
thought is Harry Kane will show you what frauds those center backs are this weekend. Give them a little training session. Make sure they're in shape for Villarreal. Actually,
Yeah, he'll give us a training session by dropping to center midfield every 2 seconds to
He's
just
not
get
doing
on the
that
ball.
to my center back.
and then once we roll through Liverpool on the weekend, Arsenal's gonna also get a world class performance out of Harry Blaine. I think you call him. He might disappear into the midfield, and then you're gonna see a 60-yard long ball to Son get one time into the back of the net 3 times. You're gonna say, "What the fuck happened?" All right. Tired of this slander.
He'll body Rob Holding and
Desperation.
White, Ben White.
Not
They can't see
a
Kane.
chance.
But anybody got any more thoughts on the week? I've said my piece.
No, a lot to look forward to, and then tune in next week for our reactions, thoughts, post games. There's a lot to look forward to here. So, thank you for tuning in again. We'll see you next week. Again, I know we've said Will's coming on here soon, the referee, but I talked to him the other day. He's gonna be out here any day now,
He
so
is
that'll be a fun
boy.
episode.
He is real.
Yeah,
We
he's a real
promise.
person. But make sure to catch that episode as well, and we have a lot to look forward to. Thank you.
Set the time.